Let's talk about royal scandals. We all know about King Henry VIII and his many wives, but what about the queens of France? For centuries, these women lived under intense scrutiny, where a single rumor could destroy a reputation or even a dynasty. Today, we're diving into the history of French queens, from the early Middle Ages to the 19th century, to uncover who actually had secret lovers and who was just a victim of nasty political gossip. Let's separate fact from fiction. Our story begins in the Merovingian era, a time of brutal power struggles. Here we meet two rival queens, Fredegund and Brunhild. Fredegund, queen of Chilperic I, was accused by chroniclers of having multiple lovers and even orchestrating assassinations to clear her path. However, these stories were mostly written by her political enemies, like the famous Gregory of Tours, so we have to take them with a huge grain of salt. Her rival, Brunhild, faced similar accusations. Chroniclers claimed she seduced and manipulated powerful men at court to maintain her influence. But again, there's no solid evidence of any actual affairs. These rumors were likely weapons used to undermine powerful women in a violent, male-dominated world. Moving into the Carolingian era, we find Queen Judith of Bavaria, wife of Louis the Pious. She was accused of having an affair with a powerful courtier named Bernard of Septimania. The accusations were so serious they nearly sparked a civil war. But modern historians believe this was almost certainly a smear campaign, cooked up by her rebellious stepsons who wanted to discredit her and seize power from their father. It seems no Carolingian queen has a confirmed record of infidelity. Things get spicier when we reach the Capetian dynasty. This is where we find our first confirmed affair. Meet Bertrade de Montfort. She was already married to a powerful count when she began an affair with King Philip I. The king was so smitten that he cast aside his own wife to marry Bertrade. This caused a massive scandal across Europe. The Pope himself got involved and excommunicated them both. They defied the church for years, living together despite the condemnation. Their story shows how personal desires could clash with royal and religious duty. But the most infamous scandal of the era was the Tour de Nesle affair. This story involves two sisters, Margaret and Blanche of Burgundy, who were married to the future kings of France. Both were caught having affairs with two handsome knights, the Anne brothers. The discovery was explosive, the knights were brutally executed, and the queens were imprisoned. Margaret, queen of Louis X, died in prison shortly after, possibly murdered to allow her husband to remarry. Her sister Blanche remained imprisoned for years. This scandal rocked the foundation of the royal family and cast doubt on the legitimacy of their children. Next up is the Valois era, a period filled with war, plague, and political chaos. Queen Isabeau of Bavaria, wife of the mentally unstable King Charles VI, was accused of countless affairs. Her enemies painted her as a depraved, power-hungry foreigner who was bankrupting the kingdom. But much like the earlier queens, modern historians now see these accusations as politically motivated propaganda. France was in the middle of the 100 Years' War, and Isabeau, as a German princess, was an easy scapegoat for the country's problems. In stark contrast, several Valois queens had spotless reputations. Anne of Brittany, who was queen to two different kings, Charles VIII and Louis XII, was known for her piety and political skill, with no hint of scandal. Similarly, Claude of France and Catherine de' Medici were faithful wives. Catherine's husband, Henry II, famously had a lifelong mistress, Diane de Poitiers, but Catherine herself remained above reproach, focusing instead on securing the future for her children. However, the Valois era did give us one of the most famous royal libertines in French history, Marguerite de Valois, better known as Queen Margot, married to Henry IV to seal a peace treaty between Catholics and Protestants. Her life was anything but peaceful. Her marriage was loveless, and she openly took several lovers, which was highly unusual for a queen. Her affairs with figures like the Duc de Guise and a courtier named La Mole are well documented in letters and memoirs from the time. Margot was intelligent, stylish, and defiant, a truly fascinating figure who refused to be constrained by the conventions of her time. Now, we enter the glamorous Bourbon era, home of the Sun King and Versailles. Here, the lines between rumor and reality get even blurrier. Marie de' Medici, Queen of Henry IV, was rumored to be intimately involved with her Italian favorite, Concino Concini. Their close relationship gave them immense power, but there's no actual proof they were lovers. Similarly, Anne of Austria, the wife of Louis XIII, was famously accused of having an affair with the powerful Cardinal Mazarin. They exchanged many passionate letters, and their bond was undeniably deep, but whether it was a physical affair remains one of history's great unsolved mysteries. What about the wife of the Sun King himself, Louis XIV? Queen Marie Therese was famously overshadowed by her husband's many official mistresses. She lived a quiet, devout life at court, and there are no credible rumors of her ever being unfaithful. The same goes for Louis XV's wife, Marie Leschisca. Though her husband was one of the most notorious womanizers in French history, she remained a symbol of dignity and faithfulness. And that brings us to perhaps the most maligned queen in all of history, Marie Antoinette. The wife of Louis XVI became the target of a vicious and widespread smear campaign. Pamphlets and cartoons depicted her in all sorts of scandalous situations, accusing her of countless affairs, most famously with the Swedish Count Axel von Fersen. Their relationship was certainly very close and romantic, as their secret letters reveal. But did they have a physical affair? Historians are still divided. There's no conclusive evidence, and it's impossible to separate the truth from the propaganda that ultimately led her to the guillotine. After the French Revolution and the end of the Bourbon monarchy, we have the July monarchy. The last queen of France, Marie Amélie of Naples, was known for her strict morality and devotion to her family. Her life was a world away from the scandals of the old regime. So, looking back, out of more than 50 French queens, only a handful have confirmed affairs. Margaret de Montfort, Margaret and Blanche of Burgundy, and Marguerite de Valois are the main ones. For most others, the accusations were just rumors, political weapons designed to tarnish their names and weaken their power. The stories of these queens show us that for a woman in a position of power, perception often mattered more than reality. Thanks for watching. If you found this dive into royal history interesting, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more. See you next time.